How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Well, it's Tuesday here on this program, and you know what that means. We got a lot to get into here today, including the first ever post-Vince McMahon edition of Monday Night Raw. And how was it? Well, it was a Raw show. I could say that it wasn't stupid. I mean, it wasn't like a great 3-hour program because it's almost impossible to do. But, you know, we had some good wrestling. We had some bad wrestling. We had some baby faces that were booed. You know, the usual. So we'll get into that here today on the program, your full Raw report. We've also got news on Vince McMahon. We've got the full lineup for the SummerSlam pay-per-view, which is coming up this Saturday, everybody. Saturday is SummerSlam. We got the lineup for the show, and at this point, there are 9 matches scheduled for this show. So this is going to be one of those long ones. We'll tell you about that, plus a meeting that Triple H had before Raw on Monday night, what he told everybody. We got the Dynamite lineup. We got the Rampage ratings. We've got the SmackDown ratings. Obviously, SmackDown did a huge number because news was out that Vince McMahon had, in his words, retired. What actually happened is he resigned. But quite frankly, the SmackDown number was a great number, but I thought it would do way more because of what happened with Vince. But still, an excellent number. Best audience for the show since June 17, which was, in fact, the day that Vince showed up after announcing he was stepping away as chairman and CEO. So we'll talk about that, plus plenty of other news as well. If you would like to text us here today, we got plenty of time. 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. When we come back, I got news on Vince that you'll only hear on this program. Back in a moment. Observer Live.
Denise once again with Craig, and we are hanging out here playing some games. I'm really excited about this one. I'm going to show you an image for 45 seconds. There are a total of 33 wrestlers in this image. How many you remember afterwards, after I take the image off? So here we go. 45 seconds on the clock. And time is now up.
Okay.
So, Craig, what did you have for dinner today?
What did I have for dinner today?
Yeah.
I haven't eaten yet, so...
okay.
I'm going to do some steaks here in a few minutes.
Now that I cleared your mind of the image, how many of these 33 names do you remember? And go.
Okay, there were both the Bucks. There were both the Usos. There was Brody King. There was Malachi Black. There was MJF. There was Will Ospreay. There was Serena Deeb. There was Keith Lee. Scorpio Sky. Ezekiel. Mia Yim. I saw Seth. I saw Phoenix. And this is where it gets tough. Pac was in the middle. Andrade.
17. So you're at 17 right now.
Okay. Oh, man. I said Serena. You're evil.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna have to call it.
All right, so you were missing a total of 16. Now,
yeah,
That's okay, because I'm going to show you this image one more time. Someone has been removed and someone has been added.
Okay.
Here we go.
Alrighty. Elias has been added.
Correct. And with Ezekiel being removed.
Right.
I was trying to trick you on that one.
That's good. That's well played, young lady. Well played.
Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. I want to mention that not only is SummerSlam this weekend, but StarCast. Ric Flair's LastMatch.com. All the details on StarCast. The week actually gets started this coming Friday, July 29th, with the Roast of Ric Flair. Following day, panels with Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli. A Horseman reunion, Bret Hart talking SummerSlam 92. On Sunday, Paige, Foley, Nash, Hardy, and more. We've got pictures, autographs, conventions, wrestling shows. We've got Black Label Pro, GCW taking place on Friday. New Japan's coming up on Saturday. Ric Flair's last match at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. It's coming up on Sunday. $39 for tickets to Ric Flair's last match. On the show, Briscoes versus Von Erichs. Kerry and Ricky Morton versus Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson. Motor City Machine Guns and the Wolves. Josh Alexander and Jacob Fatu. Killer Cross and Harry Smith. Red Narita. Actually, I don't know if Clark Connors is on the show. I believe that Clark Connors is injured. I could be wrong
He's
about
off the
that.
show.
Yeah. But anyway, Ric Flair's LastMatch.com. If you want tickets, as noted, $39 gets you in to see the final match in the career of Ric Flair, so check it out. There's also documentaries you can check out, episode 1 and 2, which actually leads to the setup for the match for Flair's final match. So check it out. That'll be this weekend, and of course SummerSlam as well. We'll get into the lineup for that show in a moment. But I promised news, exclusive news on Vince McMahon, only for listeners of this show. And really, only listeners of this show will understand the gravity of what I'm about to say. Are you ready?
Yes.
You ready, Mike? You ready? Are you ready? Yeah. I'm traveling tomorrow. I won't be here to do the show tomorrow. A last-minute thing came up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you know what that means.
Yeah, I know.
You know what that means.
I know!
I don't know what that means.
You know
Well,
what that means!
I know that means you have to review NXT 2.0, but
Yes!
on top of that, it is every single time that I have traveled, okay, a monumental shift in the structure of WWE has occurred. Every single time. So one of two things is going to happen tomorrow. This is like CM Punk versus Ryback. Either tomorrow there's going to be a monumental shift in the structure of WWE because I'm traveling, or the streak will be broken. So I guess we're going to find out. You want to take a bet, Mike? Is something going to happen tomorrow or not?
Yes.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Well, the odds are in my favor, so I might as well go ahead and hope that, because then it also provides me with more YouTube views when you put
Yeah,
up
bro,
that
you
little
should be
segment,
happy when I
so.
travel because you have so much material every time I'm out of here because something always goes down. God, maybe Dunn will be axed. If he gets axed, I may have to do the show from the car. That's bigger news to me than Vince stepping down. Bro, listen, I was watching Raw last night, and we'll get into the Raw report in a minute, and Raw was not monumentally different, okay? It was largely the exact same show. But the first 30 seconds of that show where there's a brawl in the ring, and they're just doing cut. I was like, bro, we got to get rid of this guy. And somebody told me that, just so you know, there's a pretty decent chance that if they get rid of Kevin Dunn, you're still going to see the cuts, which was very depressing to me.
Well.
But I'm hoping that perhaps, no matter who is responsible, that Triple H watches that show, and being a man in his early 50s, maybe his eyes are starting to kind of go a little bit, and maybe he kind of gets, whatever. He'll just go, we can't do this anymore, dude. It's done. No more of these camera
heart rate,
cuts.
everything gives
Not
him
his
vertigo
heart,
now,
but
or...
hey, listen. I'll be honest with everybody. I'm 47 years old, and you know what? I noticed a little while ago.
What?
My vision up close is not very good anymore.
Mine too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sucks. So, I have perfect vision here, but then, now it's getting blurry. Now I can't see a thing on my hand. And then, it gets dark in the room, and I can't see very well when it gets dark. And then when I go outside, it's too bright. I'm going to be that guy that wears sunglasses on the show in about 5 years because it's just everything's so bright. But the point is, you get a little older, and your eyes get a little weird and everything like that. So I can't watch this stuff. This needs to change. You understand? It's got to change.
Do you also hate those new headlights? Those things are way too bright at night, beaming at you with the dry eye and all that stuff. It sucks.
No, it doesn't bother me.
That one.
But
really
I got LASIK, everybody, so I have perfect vision everywhere except really, really close. And I don't know if any of you that got LASIK noticed this as well, but there's certain colors of blue that look really bizarre at night, like blue neon. Yeah, it's weird.
Huh.
Like every other color is like perfectly in focus, but blue neon. It just is like, you know what it looked like? It looked like the entrance of, who did that entrance? Axiom.
Huh.
Looked like Axiom's entrance when I see that weird blue. Anyway, I got more news, and the first thing I want to mention is yesterday on Observer Radio, I talked about the flight that Nick Wayne and his mother were on the way back from Progress. They apparently had left from Germany and were heading to Seattle. And they were over the ocean, and all of a sudden, there was a bomb threat that was reported, and the plane turned around and landed in Iceland. And somebody had scrawled on the mirror either bomb or explosion. It's not clear what they had scrawled. But so here's the thing. If let's say that you're on an airplane and you receive word as a pilot that there is a credible bomb threat, okay? But you're hearing it from wherever, okay? That's different than if you are on the plane and you inspect everything, and then as the plane is in the air, somebody scrawls something on the mirror. That means that whoever scrawled it is on the airplane, okay? So basically, they didn't know who scrawled the threat on the mirror. And so when they landed, man, I was just told everybody was treated as if they were guilty. And they were sequestered into this tiny little hotel. They weren't allowed to talk. They weren't allowed to use their phones. They weren't allowed to charge their phones. And everybody was searched. The plane was searched. His poor mother, who was in a state already because she was on a plane with a bomb threat, she gets like... the super interrogation because she had a little thing of like eyeliner or whatever. And apparently they'd used eyeliner or lipstick or whatever to write it on the mirror. So, of course, they think that she must be one of the suspects. So they grilled her forever. And as of, I think, an hour and a half ago, they were still in Iceland. No idea how they're going to get back. No idea when they're going to get back. No idea about anything. And since they weren't allowed to charge their phones were all dying. So I don't know what's going on. But, I mean, the good news is they're on the ground and they're safe, okay? She was given the impression from one of the officers that there was actually a bomb on the plane. The person who gave her that information, I think there may have been some miscommunication because there have been news stories out about this, and none of them have mentioned that there actually was a bomb on the plane. So my guess is there wasn't. But she, when she was talking to them, got the impression that they were telling her that there actually was a bomb on the plane. So that's all I can tell everybody right now. The story's out. There was a story on Slam Wrestling about it yesterday, but that's all the news I have as of right now, and that's a scary story.
Well, I guess we'll find out a lot about Iceland maybe when they get back, of which I know nothing other than the Olympics were held in Reykjavik and Bjork.
Thank you, Mike. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
What's up, guys? I'm back here once again with Craig, and we are going to continue playing some games. I've been putting Craig to the test here. This next game is another new one, and basically what this is I'm going to put up 7 names on the screen, and these are the real names of wrestlers that you see on AEW. Now, Craig has to guess which wrestler it is, and who is this? Reminder that you have 2 guesses here.
Luchasaurus.
Incorrect. You got 1 more guess.
Okay. This is tough.
And they are all from the AEW roster.
Right. I got nothing.
All right, so you're going to pass?
Yeah. Wow.
All right, he's passing. The answer we were looking for here was Darby Allin.
Oh, I should know that. I should 100% know
You'd be
that.
surprised, right? You'd be surprised. All right. Who is this? Edward Moore.
Wow, this is horrible. I'm not up to date on my AEW shoot names. I don't know. I have no clue.
Pass. The answer we were looking for was Eddie Kingston.
Okay.
That's a good one, right? It's a good
Yeah.
one. All right. Next one. They're going to get harder. This one is, I don't even know how to pronounce the last name.
So I'm guessing that's not Nick Jackson.
No.
Let's see. Nothing again. This is horrible.
You're failing, Craig.
I
The
am.
answer is Evil Uno. Here we go. Next one. Ooh.
Ben Satterley. Is that Orange Cassidy?
No, it is actually Pac.
Thunder Rosa. It's
It
not
is
her.
actually Ruby Soho.
Okay.
Well, at least you got to guess it. You got to guess it.
Scorpio Sky.
It is Brody King.
Yeah.
And the last one, Dustin Lee Howard.
Jeez.
You're gonna start paying attention now to all of these like people's names.
Yeah, I've never paid attention for some reason. Yeah, I got nothing.
The answer we're looking for here is Chuck Taylor. All right, so curious, how did you guys in the chat do? Go ahead and let me know. Are these harder than you thought? Easier than you thought? I'm curious to see what your scores were. But we do got 1 more game, so Craig and I will be back in the next video. See you guys.
You're out. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Why don't we do Raw real quick?
All right.
So just so y'all know, for those of you that were expecting way more than happened here today, this Raw show was written last week and approved by Vince on Thursday. And the good news is he didn't show up Monday to rip it up. But with a couple of exceptions, this was largely still a Vince McMahon show. And it's going to be a while before you see real changes. You're going to see some changes. But I remain very bullish about everything. And Triple H did do a meeting before the show and, you know, basically told everybody he wanted it to be fun for them to come to work. He promised transparency. He said if you wanted to talk to him, he would talk to you. And people, you know, the wrestlers were generally pretty excited about the change. And we had Lance Storm on the show today, and he worked there at one point when Vince was working on the XFL. He was there as a producer, and he said that there were a lot of shows where Vince wasn't there and Triple H was in charge. And he said when Triple H was in charge, everybody was so much happier. And now the whatever Vince called himself, the calm, serene force at Gorilla, that quite frankly, Tornado is gone. And I think that in the long run, it's going to be a big positive for everybody, even if it just leads to people being happier to go to work. So it opened up with the brawl with Miz and Logan Paul, which had too many camera cuts. And it was quick. They got out of there, and that was that. Then we had Roman Reigns, Usos, and Paul Heyman coming down to the ring. Paul Heyman did the promo, hyping up SummerSlam. Roman Reigns talked about Brock Lesnar. And then out came Theory. Because in case you are unaware, Vince was really high on this Theory guy. And since he wrote this show, Theory's on for about 45 minutes every time. So first Theory does a promo, and then Roman Reigns makes a comment about how your daddy's not here anymore, referring to Vince. Which got a Who's Your Daddy chant. Big pops for Roman Reigns. They're leaving. Austin Theory hits Jey Uso with the briefcase. Jey totally doesn't sell this briefcase shot. And he wants to get in a fight, but Reigns holds him back, and away they go. It was a good promo segment. Paul Heyman was great, and Roman Reigns is good in his role. Then we had Drew McIntyre versus Theory. Had a lot of people upset because they were like, "My God, the first Raw after Vince, the first match goes to..." Well, first off, this was a Vince show. And yes, the first match did go to a DQ. But it went to a DQ to set up a tag match. So it was Drew versus Theory. And then, all the guys ran in, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, Butch. So they set up the tag match with Bobby Lashley and Drew versus Theory and Sheamus. Went about 12 minutes. Match was fine, depending on who was in there. They're still having Theory work in the most boring manner possible as they're trying to give him this big push. Lots of chin locks and etc. And then finally he's going for his finish. Dolph Ziggler shows up at ringside, and Theory is distracted, gets put in the hurt lock, taps immediately because he doesn't want to be injured going into his match with Bobby Lashley for the title on Sunday or Saturday. And he also wants to cash in, obviously. So that's why he tapped quickly. And segment was fine, but it was one of those Raw things where we're only going to use 20 wrestlers out of the 500 we have. And so let's just stretch everything out as long as humanly possible. But if you like those guys, you got a lot of them. We had a Rey Mysterio video package, which was excellent. We had the Rey Mysterio 20th anniversary celebration. Dominic did not turn on his father. Rey Mysterio was allowed to go out there, and for like 10 minutes, he talked about his career. He thanked people that he owed his career to, including Dean Malenko, who works for AEW, Conan, who pretty much since about 1993 has been on the outs with the WWE, Batista, Kurt Angle, Edge, Eddie Guerrero, and the fans chant, "You deserve it." It was really great. And Dominic's, clapping for his dad. He's all excited. Ray's practically in tears. And they gave him his 20th anniversary moment. And then afterwards, Finn Balor and Damian Priest showed up because they were going to have a match. And they go 10 minutes, and Rey Mysterio, clean in the middle of the ring, hits a frog splash, pins Finn Balor, and they win the match. I was like, my God, anything else? And, of course, they did have to get some heat because they do have a tag match on Sunday. But, this is not something they normally do, especially for a guy like Ray. Just give him so much and let him actually have a great, happy moment. So I was very happy with this segment for Ray because, when the fans chant, "You deserve it" because somebody won a belt, I'm always like, what are you talking about? But when they chant, "You deserve it" for Ray's 20-year celebration, I like that. Because you know what? Ray does deserve it. So then they go backstage, and now it's time for the heat. Ray's back there with his family, and his daughter Aaliyah's got a present for him. He opens it up, and it is the gear from Halloween Havoc 1997, where he faced Eddie Guerrero in a mask versus title match, which he was supposed to lose, but he won. It was an 11-minute match. I gave it 5 stars, probably the best 11-minute match you'll ever see. He got the gear. He went, my God, I've been looking. Where did you find this? And Aaliyah said something like, wasn't easy. But he's looking at the gear. He's all excited. And then Rhea Ripley shows up. And Aaliyah gets in her face. The Balor and Priest attack the Mysterios. They put Ray through a table. Finn Balor notes, it's not your anniversary. It's my birthday. And they beat him up and left him for dead. So somehow this leads to a no disqualification match on Sunday, which I don't know how that leads to that, but that's what they're doing. We did Bianca, Becky Lynch, quick segment and brawl, which was a very good brawl. And Becky Lynch took a swing at Hurricane during this brawl. So, maybe he deserves it. Who knows? Alexa Bliss promo, does all the goofy stuff talking about the doll. But then she has to get serious. And she looks directly into the camera. And she cuts a promo on Bianca and Becky. And she said, I don't care who wins Sunday, I'm coming for that title. She also mentioned she was a 5-time champion, which I'm sure is true, but there's a lot of belts, and a lot of people have won them in this company. Alexa Bliss dewdrop, 4 minutes, no heat whatsoever. Alexa hit her with a DDT, pinned her, and that was that. Then we had the Logan Paul segment. I think you guys probably know what happened. Logan Paul came out. He attempted to be a babyface. The fans booed him. And then the weird thing was, all of a sudden Maurice comes out. And Maurice comes out, she goes, don't you dare ever talk about my children. And I was like, he didn't say a word about your kids. He didn't say one word about your children. So apparently they'd written something that he forgot to say. And I can't figure out what he would have said about her children if their idea is that he's supposed to be a babyface. Because, dude, you don't say anything about people's kids if you want to be a babyface. That was what began, or one of the things that began the fans turning on Sammy Guevara when he made a comment about, forget whose kids it was, but he goes, nobody gives a damn about your kids or whatever, and everybody starts booing him, even though he's supposed to be a babyface. So Miz and Maurice show up, and Ciampa attacks Logan Paul. Logan Paul fights back, but then Miz gives Logan Paul the skull-crushing finale, at which point the fans chant, one more time, because they hate Logan Paul. And yes, it was Ethan Page, who was a heel. Babyface Sammy Guevara made a comment about heel Ethan Page's kids, and they all turned on Sammy Guevara and cheered Ethan Page. Because you don't say anything about people's kids. We had AJ and Dolph Ziggler beating the Alpha Academy, which was it was a pretty good match. I mean, Styles is great, and Dolph's good, and Alpha Academy is, Chad Gable's great, Otis is funny. So Ziggler hit a zigzag, double team on Gable, pinned him. And so that was that. And then finally the main event, Roman Reigns and the Usos versus Riddle and the Street Profits. Dude, there was nothing wrong with the work in this match. Everybody in the match is good, but it was 20 minutes, which meant 18 minutes of it was just getting heat on the baby faces one at a time. We get the heat on Riddle. He makes a hot tag. We get the heat on Montez. He makes a hot tag. We get the heat on Dawkins. And finally, Riddle makes the last hot tag with like a couple of minutes left. He's running wild. He is going for his DDT or his RKO. He hit the DDT on Reigns. Goes for the RKO. Reigns spears him, pins him. He's left for dead. And then Seth Rollins comes out and gives him a stomp in the ring and a stomp on the ring step. So basically, if you look at what happened on the show, there really was little that you would describe as like stupid, incompetent. It was a show that was too long. It was a basic show building up all of the matches for SummerSlam. They largely did a fine job building everything up. The matches, I mean, they just have to drag everything out over 3 hours. So it's not a bad show. It's certainly not a great show by any means. But it was, for a 3-hour show, fine. And hopefully it continues to improve, because next week's script won't be written by Vince. He'll never be there to tear up the script again. I mean, don't expect like super changes overnight, but I think that as things go by, I think the show's going to really improve, and SmackDown as well.
One simple fix would be getting rid of any remnants of the brand split. You don't have enough top talent to do that. and you have guys like Walter that can be utilized anywhere. I would say I would want those Intercontinental and U.S. titles merged together. I don't know if they'll do that, but that would be one of the things I would do, and after the break, we can get into it more.
We'll get more Mike's thoughts after the break, bros. Back in a moment. Observer Live.
Hey there, everyone. It is Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to another commercial break. Joining me here today is none other than Craig Peroper. What's up, Craig?
Hey, how are you?
So this is round 2 of these games that we are doing on here. The last one didn't go too well, but you know what? I have hope for you, Craig. I have hope, and I think you'll get this next one. Now, I haven't told you what the game is.
No.
Are you ready, though?
As ready as I'm going to get.
Okay, so here's the game. This time I have scrambled up words for you, and you have to tell me what the word is. The category that you will be getting here today is celebrities who have appeared in wrestling in general.
John.
You got the first part. It is John.
Okay. Waters? No, that's not right.
10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer that we were looking for was Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart.
Almost there.
All right.
Here we go. Next one.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yes, the answer is Cyndi Lauper. You got it. Congratulations. Which celebrity is this?
Oh, jeez. Floyd Mayweather.
And you are correct, my friend. The answer is Floyd Mayweather. Who is this?
That's Pee Wee Herman.
Yes, Pee Wee Herman it is. Congratulations. And the next one. The clock is winding down. Craig is thinking really hard right now. The answer we were looking for here was Pamela Anderson.
You know, as a younger man, I probably would have gotten that.
Who was this celebrity?
Betty White.
Yes, you got it. Betty White is the answer. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we will be back once again to play some more games. So we'll see you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live. Friendly reminder, in case you haven't already, head on over to F4W Online on YouTube. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Click that subscribe button for tons and tons of shows that you can catch on a daily over at F4W Online on YouTube.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Mike, any other thoughts from the Raw show Monday?
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about Austin Theory and him being buried and him being them being done with him and all that. No. What I believe to be the case and what should be the case is you need to now rebuild Austin Theory, because look at how this guy has been portrayed a lot. When has he been portrayed as the most serious he could be? It was for a few moments when he was standing next to Seth Rollins, when Seth was going to get his cult together and Buddy Murphy was there, like Buddy Matthews, whatever. Like, that's as serious as he's been. He's been the kid of the Garganos. He's been this Vince weird guy that takes selfies and has been a goofball. Like, That's not how you build somebody up. Again, the things that people remember and want to gloss about, like a John Cena build or something like that, about, well, he did these goofy things. No, look, I don't care if he was touched by Vince here, which is a bad way to say things, but whether he was Vince's handpicked guy or not, how he has portrayed Austin Theory has been goofy, and I don't think has worked, and certainly has not peaked him to the potential where he should be right now, especially if you're going to spend this much time on the show with him. So to tear him down a little bit and have these guys like a Lashley or a Drew McIntyre or a Dolph Ziggler, which I know is tired for a lot of people, but these older guys who are sharks in the water here, like, they should be the ones that now tear this guy down a little bit, and he's got to hold his own against him and build himself back up, because that's the only way people are going to actually believe this guy. Long term, that's the only way they're going to do it, because he does not have a cool factor like Roman Reigns. He doesn't have that. So the longer he goes and is not over, and the more they push him as one of the few stars, it's not going to work. And I think one of the ways you can do that is by having a 6 or an 8 pack of people, usually it's 6, that you can rely on. And I know people are tired of the names right now to hear Lashley or McIntyre or Sheamus or Ziggler or Kevin Owens. But you know what? If you amplify those guys, you bring Walter in, you bring in somebody maybe from NXT, a couple of people maybe that have been forgotten about. That was always a great Paul Heyman thing, to bring guys up that people, T-Bar, that somebody has forgotten about, put a new coat of paint on them, and give them an existence and a reason to be there. And without Vince there, you should not have the concern about giving up on something after 2, 3, 4 weeks. So that is a simple change that can be made that I think would help matters. And as, again, Sheamus falls off, hopefully you have a, let's just say, Braun Breaker or whoever it is that you bring up, you have them there to kind of slide up and be that person. And again, getting rid of the brand split, as you've argued for a long time, would help matters immensely, because without Brock, without Reigns there, you might as well have Drew and Sheamus and Butch and everybody over on Raw, and you might as well have it the same way on SmackDown when it comes to the women and any other help that, you know, Alpha Academy that can be given on that side.
Well, here's the deal. This brand split, I mean, I talked months ago that the brand split was basically done. And then, you know, there was the correction from someone within WWE. Well, it's still there. We're just not really... Bro, the brand split's already done. Like, there's people that show up on both shows. It's all done. Here's the thing with this Theory bloke. I got nothing against the guy, okay? But I think it would be a disaster to have him become champion at SummerSlam.
Oh, God,
I should say it. I shouldn't say it would be a disaster.
No,
like they're not going to go out of business or whatever.
Way to end. Reigns has got a 700-plus day reign, and you have presented this guy like this. No, flat out, it's not the time. And any wrestling, look, nobody's wrestling instincts should pop for that. Nobody's.
Well, listen, I don't know what they were going to do on Saturday. But I do know that Vince has devoted 45 minutes of television time on every show in the last month to Austin Theory. So much time, okay? I also, having watched WWE for a long time, I know how this guy thinks a lot of times, but not every time, okay? And if you pay attention on SmackDown, Brock Lesnar beat the holy hell out of Austin Theory. On Raw, Roman Reigns beat the holy hell out of Austin Theory. So you're telling me that Vince's idea was to spend all this time on this guy, beat him up on the SmackDown Go-Home show, beat him up on the Raw Go-Home show, and then beat him on Saturday? I'm not saying, okay?
That was not Vince's idea, but Vince is not there.
No, Vince did write this show Monday, okay?
You're right.
So,
You're right.
I don't know if his idea was to put the title on him Saturday, but I have seen him build people up for titles before, and this is totally his wheelhouse, okay? Now, here's the big question. Let's say that Vince's whole idea was to build this dude up to go in there Saturday. Brock and Roman kill each other. He cashes in. Or, you guys remember my idea? Did I mention my idea on this show? Because I'm the king of horrible ideas.
Yes, which was?
Okay. My idea is this. I'm not advocating this idea, okay? Brock and Roman are doing their match, and they're just killing each other. And something happens, and both of them fall into a hole or whatever, and then a bunch of stuff fall on top, so they're both trapped in the hole, okay? They're both trapped in the hole. The ref goes 1, 2, 3. Yes, I'm going to count to 8. 4. Got to have the drama here. 5. You're like, my God, they can't get out of this hole. 6. 7. And all of a sudden, Austin Theory's music hits. He runs down to the ring. He gives the referee the briefcase. He stands in the ring. The ref goes, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, no.
And new. So he did nothing but stand in the ring. This is such Vince's wheelhouse. This guy that you're supposed to hate backdoored his way into this title. So anyway, that's what I figured they were going to do. I have
Vince
no
McMahon
idea.
or Vince Russo there?
I have no idea what Vince's plan was other than whatever. But listen, it doesn't matter because guess what? Now he's gone. Okay? So all I know is if I'm Triple H, nothing against the guy, but it's not his time. And I realize that a lot of people in the history of wrestling have become champion when it seemed like it was too early, and they finally sort of made it work, even though it was early. You know, when Brock Lesnar was called up from Ohio Valley, it was way too early. But he made it work. Kurt Angle was called up too early. He made it work. I mean, I suppose it's possible Austin Theory could make it work, but to me, it's not time. He's not ready. He should not be the undisputed Universal Champion with all of the top belts. And so I would make a change if that was Vince's plan, and I would not have him win that title. It's just not time. He's not the guy right now.
You're exactly. And I know that's always been one of Vince's tells is to do something like that. It's like having somebody beat giants on the way up to conquering the top of the mountain. But as you've mentioned with Theory, it is just not the time. And him losing, frankly, if he's going to cash it in, will do more for him long term because you do, to me, have to strip him back down and build him up a little bit. Him beating Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns right now, it doesn't make any sense. And to me, if you want to keep the briefcase on him, that's fine. Let him continue to ride with it. But you've got to figure out a way to build more credibility behind that guy as you go along with this. And it just showcases again how bad they need fresh stars to get elevated up. And I don't know who those people are other than names like there is Braun Breaker. I think Carmelo Hayes' future is now a lot brighter now that somebody else is in charge. Same thing with a guy like a Giovanni Vinci. I think if those guys get called up to the main roster, I'm not going to say it's going to move heaven and earth or anything like that, but I think guys of that size are going to have a better possibility, as are the guys like a Braun Breaker. Look, Von Wagner, they obviously like because of his size. They've let him actually talk here a little bit, you know, as we see what happens with Robert Stone. But, like, those types of guys coming up, they need to be cracked into the tier here at some point, and I don't think you can wait until the Royal Rumble for that. I do hope they start making some sort of moves and bringing some people up and freshening things up and not having it be people like Mandy Rose, because with all due respect, unless you're going to bring up Mandy Rose, put her on the main roster with Sonya and they make them a tag team, I'm great with that. If you're going to bring up to have them feud, I've already seen it. I don't want to see it. And I've seen what Mandy can do in NXT, and she still cannot cut a promo worthy enough to be on the main roster to take up 10 minutes of time. She still doesn't have a match that makes me want to see her any more than a number of women on that roster. So bringing up the right people from NXT too, not just because it's time to bring them back up again because you don't want to cut them. I'm sorry. You know, there's other things they can do. Be on the Coconut Loop, be on Level Up, do other things. But I don't want to see the same projects over and over again when we've seen projects like Madcap Moss, who's still got a crappy name, who should go back to being Riddick Moss, still never get an opportunity or his shot.
Hey, let me say something, by the way. So I know one of the reasons they're so behind Austin Theory is because he's young. And I've heard many times, as well as my favorite, well, they know they got to do this, but then they actually don't do it, okay? So I've heard this about, Austin Theory. We know we need young stars, et cetera, okay? Until this whole thing happened with whatever the hell they're doing with MJF, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong. MJF was one of the hottest stars in all of AEW, right?
Facts.
Okay. With the exception of the Dynamite Diamond ring, which he won several times, with the exception of that, he never won a title at AEW. He never was the AEW champion.
No.
He never was the AEW TNT champion.
No.
He was never one half of the tag team champions.
No.
Yet he, as a young 24-year-old, I think he's 25 now, he was by far one of the biggest stars. He was one of the biggest, at times he was the biggest ratings mover in the entire company. The issue is not young people need to be the champion. The issue is we need young, fresh faces in the top mix. So if you want to shove Austin Theory, if you want to push him, great. That doesn't mean that he needs to be the undisputed Universal Champion and literally the centerpiece of the shows, because he's not ready right now. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything with him. That doesn't mean he can't be in a top spot. It doesn't mean he can't main event, semi-main event shows or main event Raw or whatever. But he doesn't need to be the champion for you to be pushing younger guys.
Theory and Moss both need to be taken care of because they are at different points in their careers with different types of trajectories, but they are two people that they need to bank on short-term and long-term. And the more you take care of somebody now, the more it's going to pay off for you later. And a lot of that is believability, and a lot of that is having stock put into you by the fans. And I don't know. Moss's seems to be going up. I don't know if Theories is there. And the response from MSG, I'm sorry, I know people think New York is overrated. It still means something.
Back in a moment with more Observer Live.
Bandido, man. That guy has a look. He has a character. He has a persona. Man, he can go in the ring. I was in there a little bit in the ring with him in AAA, Mexico, Monterrey. Another great wrestler too. ¿Cómo se llama? Vikingo.
Of course.
Hijo de Vikingo. Oh man, he beat me well. For the AAA title, but it was a great like scramble. It was like so many people. Jay Lethal, Bobby Fish was there. Bandido, Vikingo. It's great. It was a great high flying action and hard hitting too. So that's one guy I right away say from off bat, like Bandido, man. Vikingo, he's done so many moves that I'm like, wow, okay, like he's taking things to another level. So it's great. And it's pretty cool too, because he like, man, when he did one of my moves where I do like a springboard to the second rope to the outside, like that I inspired him to like, oh man, that's great, dude. That you're inspiring me now. So like you're making me better too. Let's all make let's make each other like better, let's do this, motivate each other. So I like his motivation, his passion, and man, he has a lot of potential, Vikingo. Another guy too that I have I have a lot of history with him, and this history that was never made, but it went well for him and it went well for me. And there was supposed to be a mask versus mask, Pentagon Jr. versus Octagon Jr. And it never happened. Why? Because I got picked up from WWE, and he kept the character and look at him now. Like right now, his character And like besides him being a great wrestler, his character right now is like really well known everywhere. I was traveling so much, and my last tour was in Russia, Moscow, and WWE was there at the same time, and I was the first luchador to be displayed in Russia, and that's pretty cool because they made a big deal. They had like a whole building with my banner and my face. It was pretty cool. I'm like, wow, we've never had a luchador, a Mexican luchador here. So they were so excited and like, oh, okay. And like, well, we're gonna get you good food, good American food. I'm like, all right, cool. So right next door they had a McDonald's. I'm like, oh man, you had a
Wait, is that what they
McDonald's?
gave you?
Yeah, I have so many stories. So I'm like, oh, I'm like, and I was telling her, I'm like, man, I'm thinking I haven't eaten McDonald's in years or something. I mean, they gave me two big large fries and Big Macs and chicken nuggets, everything. I'm like, oh man, like, all right, I couldn't communicate with anybody, no English or Spanish, anybody. I'm like, so I had no other choice. I ate the burgers and not bad.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live, Mike Sempervive. Also, WrestlingObserver.com. Well, everyone's favorite show is tonight. Very disappointed. I'm not going to be able to review it tomorrow on the program, Mike, but I'm glad that you will get a chance to do so.
Do you think they're going to have one of those video packages that they set up for Rey Mysterio last night? Do you think they'll have that for the career of Sophia Cromwell in NXT? Do you think they'll have a big goodbye segment for her now that she is a maximum female model?
Maxine Dupree. No, it's Maxine Dupree. That's what it is. Maybe they can stop doing that since this bro's gone. Vince McMahon. Hey, by the way, Filthy Tom, first G1 block match. Lost to Lance Archer. I have not seen it yet. How was it?
I saw it. Look, it was pretty good. He went back to the well too many times trying for that choke. Archer's a big man, wore him down, and that worries me a little bit. He's got Jonah coming up here in the next couple of days on 30th, and that worries me because he is in the monster block, and when Okada is the lightest guy to be throwing around there, I'm starting to worry here a little bit. I know it's only been one day, and I got all the faith in the world in Filthy Tom Lawler, but that was a little tough to watch.
Well, I'm going to be watching that tonight, as well as NXT 2.0 with Zoe Stark, Wes Lee versus Grayson Waller, Apollo Crews versus Zion Quinn, and Diamond Mine and Tony D'Angelo's family will collide for an epic 8-man tag team
Where's
match.
Stratton? No Stratton?
Coming up tonight.
Come on, at least give me Tiffany Stratton.
Get out of here, Mike. I'll see you on Thursday, everybody. Wrestling Observer Live.